Yes?
War's nearly over. What will you do? Where will you go?
The war against Nilfgaard, perhaps. But others drag on, and will continue to do so.
What do you mean? What war will persist?
Scoia'tael survivors still hide in the forests.
Yes, but I've heard they retreat to the east. Simply let them go. Let them leave our lands. Why ever not?
To see them return even stronger? No. We must slit their throats, one and all. Now. Crush them like worms beneath our boots.
Rayla, at some point one must admit there's been pain enough. One must put away the bloodlust.
I shall do so in my grave, and not a moment sooner.
I must go. We'll speak later.
Huh? What is it now?
The war nears its end.
Sadly,
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company, so go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Your Grace?
The war nears its end. What next for you, Sir Ake? Will you remain in my ranks?
Alas, I cannot, as you know, Your Majesty. Having taken an oath, to it I must remain devoted.
It could take some time, this ridding the whole world of monsters.
Yes, but 'tis not a task for one man and his life. 'Tis a task for generations of noble knights. I have but begun this endeavor. 'Twill be for others to complete it.
Have you found any successes yet? Or promising prospects?
Truth be told, no. A life of poverty lived by the strictures of the good book attracts few. But, God's willing, I shall yet find one worthy to carry my sword and continue along my path.
I sincerely wish you do, Sir Ake. Farewell, Ake.
Hey ho, how's my favourite queen in the north?
So, what awaits you now? What will you do?
Been contemplating it of late. Thought I might go back to the life of an outlaw. Not that I'd expect you to approve.
You're quite right, I wouldn't. It's why I wish to make certain you'll not feel tempted. Gascon, I hereby bestow upon you a number of estates near Scala.
What? Maeve? Damn it, I don't know what to say.
Ha! A first?
Thank you, Maeve. 1,000 thanks.
'Tis I who should thank you. With all my heart. It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell.
Yes, Your Grace?
The war nears its end. What next for Rayna Dodo?
Whatever you command, Your Grace.
Ugh.
Is something amiss, my lady?
It's nothing, Reynard. Unimportant. It's time I attended to other matters.
lads! Long live the Queen! Just watch and wait. I wager you'll chase the Emperor himself off the throne. They say war's a man's affair, but you showed them, my lady. They say war's a man's affair, but you showed them, my lady.
The Lyrian army had grown into a great serpent. So much so that riding at the column's tail, Niamh could not see its head. Footmen, cavalry, and archers stretched like a glistening snake between two horizons. Niamh had come a long way indeed, and she felt proud. Suddenly, Niamh heard angry cries and the clash of steel against steel, all at the column's front.
Close ranks! To the left! March left! Support the flank!
Niamh drew her sword, spurred her horse, and galloped forward along the line of troops. Then, through the swirling battle dust, she spotted shimmering golden suns.
Surround them!
Watch your heads!
Ah!
101, 102, 103.
Yeah, yeah! Cannot be in!
Hundred and 52, 154.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Ah!
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Catch!
New orders? No?
Give me a time.
Mercy! Have mercy! Normally disciplined, determined to an extreme, these Nilfgaardians quickly broke rank and ran.
Deserters! Leaderless, your grace.
A scout reported.
Headed south they was, towards the frontier.
Chained prisoners now sat along the dusty road. Meave stopped in front of one. He was ragged and unshaven. Flies had taken an interest in his poorly bandaged hand. Spotting the Queen, he lowered his head and quivered with terror.
I know you take us for savages.
Began Meave, her gaze passing over several scraggy black-clads.
But fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a truce is signed, you'll be sent home. Where I most sincerely hope you'll stay this time.
As the Queen mounted her horse, she barely concealed a grimace. Her thighs were sore and chafed, her hands raw from the reins. But she bit her lip and rode on, for the prize was now very near.
Was in Aldersberg when it fell. Broke my heart that did, but not complete. Now we'll take it back. Other kings could learn a thing or two from you, your majesty. Fight on! It was we who were to offer Lyria our aid. Things got turned right round. Other kings could learn a thing or two from you, your majesty. Fight on!
The good mothers guided you to victory. Nilfgaard angered the gods. Too much pride in them, not enough humility. The entire North owes you thanks, milady. And you, the gods. Nilfgaard angered the gods. Too much pride in them, not enough humility. The entire North owes you thanks, milady. And you, the gods.
Meave was listening to a scout's report when screams suddenly burst from the prisoner transport. In a moment, Meave bore witness to a truly macabre sight. The Nilfgaardian captives to whom she had recently been merciful lay dead, massacred in cold blood among the camp's tents.
Blast it all.
Seethed the Queen, looking at the bloodied corpses. Those responsible for the deed, peasants from the quarry at Ravencloft, Meave had welcomed into her ranks. The harm they'd endured from Nilfgaardians wielding whips. This was what had festered in their hearts and minds. The Rivians couldn't accept that their oppressors had gone unpunished. So they took matters into their own hands, in defiance of the Queen.
There's fiends, not folk!
Cried the peasants, now armed and in uniform.
There was owed this, plain and simple.
It had been justice by a mob, and Meve knew it should not go unpunished. Yet at the last, ignoring her advisor's counsel, she left the former slaves' fate for their commanders to decide. For the Queen had grown weary of choosing between two evils, each one darker than the other.
Long live me! Long live the Queen! Long live a liberator!
All's left is to drive the Blackclats from Aldersberg, and the war's won. Our Demoven's not bad, but he don't hold a candle to Meve. All's left is to drive the Blackclats from Aldersberg, and the war's won.
Meve noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something. Could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined?
Meve placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's squirt!
An arrow whisked through the air, pierced his throat, and suddenly silenced him. Then the forest came alive with cries in the Elder tongue. Elves on the attack.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
I told you it'll never end.
Got business for me?
lad. Don't say that!
Nay, Dwan becamest.
This could hurt.
Let us sing the song of steel!
Give me a time. None shall tread on us! Now we will see who is weak!
Oh my.
A knight should help. Our codex commands it.
Renner! Stop! We surrender!
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renner. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and I'm no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Tristan's commando. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Epdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renner. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Kedwen, if not worse. We wish to join with Yorveth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... you've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu.
Elves often speak beautiful words, but it's for their deeds you must judge them, Your Grace. The Moulderwood, remember what you saw.
I beg you. So few of us remain, all tired, all wounded.
We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
Your Majesty, they attacked us, came at us unprovoked.
Truly, Rayla. Unprovoked. Because it seems to me, we've provoked them for years.
I thank you for your compassion towards me and all my folk.
Maeve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence. They did not approve, this was clear. Their displeasure was palpable.
You treat yourself to our new view for a better future through and through. First foundations hoist the walls, then we'll revel in its halls. Everyone's doing their part to rebuild the homeland. First foundations hoist the walls, then we'll revel in its halls.
To fight at your side, Majesty. Side by side, we'll kick those blackclads across the Yaruga.
Long live Eden! Long live Rivia! Long live Hyrule! Lyria!
It'd be an honor to fight at your side, Majesty.
The Lyrian corps neared Aldersberg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, Birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Niamh saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersberg was under siege. At this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demoven's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Seems the realm's restored to a virtuous path,
muttered Niamh.
Aha! There she is! Queen Niamh, savior of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Niamh, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tuck-tail went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Growing like a weed he is. And the spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Ooh, your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what of Willem?
He perished in the assault on Revere Castle.
Oh my. Fighting for which side?
The right one. Demavend, the wound is fresh, the pain immense. I'd rather we not speak of it. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North, the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home, but the old borders don't satisfy a soul.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one. Wait in ambush. And when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces...
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersberg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersberg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Niamh set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace. It's not far now.
That very same day, Meave's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin. It seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Kaldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Meave's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly, and you're certain you're not mistaken. The wonders of this world. Kaldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission, with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Kaldwin and escort set off towards Aldersberg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. Meave failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Ebdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum, one signed by Emperor Emir var Emrys himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Ebdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Meave had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
So at last saved the North from the Black Lads.
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap. She find herself one in the end?
It's been spinning the tale all night. The story's done. Tell me got some shit on.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Ah, very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem? A pawn, a tool in others' hands. Most, if not all, had seen him thus. Yet in the end, he proved his worth soundly. Though he'd started the war a traitor, he perished in the fray a hero, and would be remembered as such. Having settled in Rivia, Gascon embarked on a life worthy of his new title. In doublet and ruff, he looked to his ample fields and livestock in daytime, attended banquets and feasts come the eve. And then one night, he grabbed his bow and quiver, saddled his favorite mount, and disappeared without a trace. As news of the Nordling victory filtered south, Nilfgaard's inhabitants greeted it with disbelief. Returning Imperial soldiers told stories of Lyria's cruel queen, who murdered prisoners and sullied sacred laws. They referred to her as Gvaeldead, the bloodthirsty one. Once the Scoia'tael had withdrawn from the northern realms, non-rebel elves and dwarves emerged from the woods. Though they returned to their homes in human communities, they lived in fear of their neighbors, aware that the next massacre would eventually come. And Meve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Ever alone, ever strong, dousing dissent with commanding gestures. She was beloved, I've no doubt. Yet her subjects always breathed easier when her gaze moved on from them to someone else. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
get them shackles off him. Poor sod can't eat proper.
Dunno, not sure I like that. What if he runs for it? He's worth a heap of coin.
Ah, bollocks. Been holding him a week, hasn't tried a thing. Why do you up and bolt now? Matter of fact, got to thinking. What did a sweet, gentle chap like him do to get the Queen of Zericania so riled?
She's a shrew, that's what. Queen and witch in one. Worst of both worlds.
Enough about her. What do you say to one more of your tales? While we toss down some cards.
Ah, why not? And since you mentioned one queen,